All right, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go through this last quiz that we took and see how quickly we should have been able to do it and how fair the quiz actually was. And then you are going to have to download quiz number 2, complete it, turn it into me to show me that you know what you're doing, and then you can take quiz number 3 in order to improve your grade. So it's going to take a little bit of work. Watch this video, go through the corrections, do quiz number 2, and then we'll take quiz number 3 in class. And during this quiz, because I'm going to add one, during this problem, or during this, I'm going to add one problem, because that's going to be on quiz number 3, just so you know how to do it. Okay, so let's go quickly. I see that I'm asking about sine of 1/2 a. This is the same as sine 1/2 a. So if I go over my formula sheet, I say, oh, sine 1/2 a. There it is, right on the bottom, right here. 1/2 a is equal to 1 minus cosine a over 2. So I come over here and I go, okay, equals plus or minus the square root of 1 minus cosine a over 2. Well, I was given what cosine a is. It's equal to 1/8. So I sub in using parentheses, plus or minus the square root of, I'm going to need my calculator to show you how to do these, so let me open it up. And let me just get that going. Just to show you what you would be doing in class. Let me get to OneNote. There's OneNote. Alright. Try to get out of that. Alright, so I'll be doing 1 minus, now you must use parentheses, 1 over 8 all over 2. Now you can either do this in your head, so I saw some of you trying to do that, that would be cool, or you can just come down here and go, okay, let's do it. 1 divided by, oops, excuse me, what you probably should be doing is control division, 1 minus parentheses, I forgot what it was, 1/8, 1 divided by 8, all over 2, and realize, oh yeah, that's 7/16. So I just come over here and I go, okay, this is 7/16, and the plus or minus, it wants the positive, so we're just going to use the positive. The square root of 7 is the square root of 7, the square root of 16 is 4, choice A. Let me come over here and do 3 while I'm at it. This, if you look at it, sine, cosine, cosine, sine, is this formula right here. The sine of A minus B. Sine, cosine, minus cosine, sine. That's the formula for sine of A minus B. So this is really just sine of A minus B, where A is the first one, B is the second one. So this is 170 minus 20. Well, that's the same as the sine of 150. And then I think to myself, okay, that's in the second quadrant. It has a reference angle of 30. What is the sine of 30 degrees? Oh yeah, the sine of 30 degrees is a half, positive in the second quadrant. That question's done. Now I'm not asking about sine of 1/2 x. I'm asking about sine of 2x. So I say, okay, sine of 2x equals, come back to my formula sheet. It's right here. Sine of 2a equals 2 sine a cosine a. So I come over here, that's 2 sine x times cosine x. And I should see on your paper 2 parentheses, 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 parentheses. Sine of x is 1/2. Cosine, well, we're acute, so that puts us in the first quadrant. A triangle in the first quadrant. 1 over 2. And if you do the Pythagorean theorem, you get 1 squared plus x squared equals 2 squared. So this ends up being x squared equals 3, and you get x equals the square root of 3. All right, well then the cosine is the square root of 3 over 2. 2 times a half is 1 times the square root of 3 over 2. Boom, there's your answer. This one over here is the only one that required really any good amount of work. It's the sine of A minus B. Well, that's sine A. We just did it. It's right here. A minus B. Right? This formula right here. Sine A cosine, sorry about that, B, minus cosine A sine B. And I just put parentheses, minus parentheses, and I put in everything I know. Oh, sine of A is 5/13. Sine of B is 4/5. I don't know anything else, so I have a little bit of work to do. And I'll say, okay, they're both acute angles. That puts them both in the first quadrant. Here's A. A, we know sine is 5/13. And if you do your work right, you'll realize, oh yeah, that's a 5, 12, 13 triangle. Cosine of A is 12/13. Then I come down here and do the B triangle. Oh yeah, it's in the first quadrant because it's acute. Tried to be nice to you. Sine of B is 4/5. And then you all know this. This is a 3, 4, 5 right triangle. So cosine of B is equal to 3/5. Well, when I multiply these, I get 15/65 minus 48/65. And that's negative 33/65. Done with that problem. This one we just have to factor. 3 sine theta. They have to multiply to 1, kids. There's only one way to multiply to 1. 1 and 1. This one has to be plus, and this one has to be minus, because this makes minus 3 sine, and this makes plus 1 sine. Shouldn't have to go through that math. This gives me sine theta equals negative 1/3, and this gives me sine theta equals 1. All right, well, this one's easy. If I do my diagram, it's 1 at 90 degrees. There's one of my answers. Then I got to come over to my calculator and do the inverse sine of 1/3. Not negative 1/3, 1/3. And it said rounded to the nearest degree, so if I round this to the nearest degree, it's 19 degrees. So theta equals 19 degrees. But that's a reference angle. I have to go to the correct quadrants. Quadrants are 3 and 4. Down here I do 180 plus 19. Here I do 180 minus 19. Oh, not 180. Excuse me, 360 because I'm in the fourth quadrant. So my answers are, that's great, 90, 199, that's 180 plus 19, and 341, that's 180 or 360 minus 19. 7 minutes. And I had to go back and forth and do a bunch of crazy stuff and open my calculator. Last one, that it will be on quiz 3. It's just because I wanted to add a problem, so you should be able to pay attention. I want you to evaluate, and I want the exact value of the sine of, let's say, 285. 285. Well, that ends in a 5. So since it ends in a 5, I know it's going to be something with, because you know what we're going to do is we're going to say, okay, can we get two things that add up to this or subtract up to this? Well, it ends in a 5. That means 45 has to be 1. And 45 plus, got it? Pause it if you don't. Pause it if you want to. 240. Now, 240, that's got a reference angle of, why is this up? I wonder why that was up. Could you see that the whole time? I hope not. All right, whatever. This is the same. So this is reference angle of 60 degrees. So that's going to have, that's a good problem. So we're going to go sine of 45 times cosine of 240 plus cosine of 45 times sine of 240. All right, parentheses, 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 plus parentheses, 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 parentheses. Sine of 45, square root of 2 over 2. Cosine of 240, let's see, it's in the third quadrant. That makes it negative. It's got a reference angle of 60 degrees because it's 60 degrees away from 180. So the cosine of 60 is 1/2. Negative 1/2. Square root of 2 over 2 over here. It's still 45. And sine of 240 has a reference angle of 60 degrees again in the third quadrant, still negative. So it's negative 3 over square root of 3 over 2. You should know that. All right, so when I multiply here, I get negative radical 2 over 4 plus negative radical 6 over 4. And final answer, when I put all this together, is negative radical 2 minus radical 6 all over 4. Kabam! Now, download quiz 2. Follow the directions from this quiz on how to do that one. See how you do. Then I want you to come in and try quiz 3. You have to show me your corrected quiz, quiz 2, and then you can take quiz 3. All right, kids? See ya.